Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you work anywhere near design, technology, or innovation right now, artificial intelligence is literally rewriting your job description as we speak. Seriously, you're no longer just a problem solver. You are rapidly, fundamentally becoming an orchestrator. Okay, so let's dive right in and unpack exactly how and why this massive shift is happening.
Here's our cognitive roadmap for today. We've broken this down into 5 quick areas. First, the big design shift. Second, the 3 vectors of change. Third, real-world AI evolution. Fourth, the Agentic Orchestrator Model. And finally, orchestrating the future. Let's get to it.
Section 1, the big design shift, a 2025 perspective.
To ground today's explainer, we're looking at a brand new piece of research published in the International Journal of Technology, Innovation, and Management in 2025. Now, this paper acts as a really fascinating 5-year update to a highly influential 2020 framework by Roberto Verganti. Back then, Verganti proposed that AI was pushing designers to stop just crafting solutions and to start shaping meaning. Think about it. For decades, the gold standard for designers was finding a clever way to solve a predefined problem. But shaping meaning, that actually requires you to step back and ask if the problem itself is the right one for humanity to tackle in the first place. It is a fundamental shift from just executing tasks to providing real philosophical direction.
Just look at the stark contrast between where we were a few years ago and where we are today. Back in 2020, we were mostly dealing with narrow AI, right? Algorithms that optimize very specific tasks. But jump to 2025, and with the total explosion of foundation models, the whole mindset is flipped. We've moved from problem solving to problem finding. Why? Because AI can literally generate solutions for you at lightning speed now. Your job as a human is to figure out what problems are actually worth solving. Which brings us to a really crucial academic concept, sensemaking. The researchers define this as the human process of defining what problems are worth solving. I like to think of it this way. Generative AI is like this incredibly detailed, expansive map, but sensemaking, that's your compass. You can have all the topographical data in the world, but as the human in the loop, you are the one deciding the actual direction we need to travel.
Moving right along to Section 2, 3 vectors of change. Let's look at what shifted in 5 years.
So you got to ask yourself, what exactly changed in just half a decade to completely upend how we design and innovate? Well, between 2020 and 2025, we got hit with a massive triad of changes. Let's hit these rapid fire.
Vector number 1, foundation models. AI is no longer just recognizing patterns or optimizing your recommendation feed. We're talking about large multimodal models capable of true generative co-creation. So instead of an algorithm just suggesting a song based on what you listened to yesterday, it's actually composing the melody and writing the lyrics right alongside you in this continuous, dynamic loop. They are generating text, video, and code as active participants.
Vector number 2 is agentic AI. This is where that old learning loop evolves into something vastly more powerful. We're now dealing with AI agents that can initiate actions, plan sequences, retrieve memories, and coordinate complex workflows. They don't just sit there waiting for your prompt anymore, they semi-autonomously take action on your behalf.
And vector number 3 is institutional governance. Regulatory frameworks like the EU AI Act and ISO/IEC 42001 have firmly hit the market. And what this means is that compliance, transparency, and ethics, they're no longer optional afterthoughts or just PR spin. They are literal design constraints. You have to use them as the foundational materials to build your systems today.
All right, Section 3, real-world AI evolution. Let's see how the tech giants adapted.
This undeniably shows the macro trend sweeping across every industry. Think about it. In 2020, Netflix, Airbnb, Tesla, and Microsoft were the absolute masters of the isolated learning loop. But by 2025, they'd all evolved into full-scale agentic orchestration. Netflix went from simply recommending movies to generating entirely new narrative patterns. Airbnb evolved from basic platform optimization to curating cultural intermediation. Tesla shifted from silent sensors to true end-to-end autonomy. And Microsoft took embedded AI and fully institutionalized the Copilot paradigm.
Let's pull out a few fascinating details straight from the source material here. Take Tesla, for instance. They completely abandoned those modular, piecemeal systems for their full self-driving version 12. And instead, they used unified end-to-end neural networks trained entirely on video data. It's a massive shift.
Or look at Microsoft. Their co-pilots don't just react to your keyboard commands, they act as agents that co-structure tasks with you. So what does co-structuring tasks actually look like on a Tuesday morning? Well, instead of you opening Excel, crunching the numbers, and painstakingly pasting them into PowerPoint, a Copilot agent understands your end goal, calls on the data tools autonomously, drafts the presentation, and then just asks you to refine the narrative. The agent structures the work, you orchestrate the outcome.
Section 4. The Agentic Orchestrator Model. This is the new design paradigm.
So how on earth do we make sense of all this complexity? Well, the researchers propose a model that stacks vertically from the micro level to the macro level. It relies on 4 interdependent layers that build on top of each other: operational loops, agentic orchestration, human sensemaking, and governance and regulation.
Down at the bottom, we have layers 1 and 2, operational loops and agentic orchestration. Think of these as the engine room of any modern tech product. This is where the heavy lifting happens. Data is processed, real-time feedback is ingested, and AI agents autonomously coordinate workflows and chat with one another. It's your technical and operational baseline.
But moving up to layers 3 and 4, human sensemaking and governance, this is where things get really interesting for us. Honestly, this is the absolute crux of your career survival in the AI age. As a designer, a product manager, and innovator, you are operating up here at these top levels. Your primary responsibility is to define the meaning, the societal values, and the strict legal boundaries that constrain and guide that engine room down below.
Which brings us to our final takeaway. Section 5, Orchestrating the Future. So what does this massive paradigm shift actually mean for your daily workflow? It means you need entirely new competencies. You're no longer just designing a standalone product or tweaking a graphical interface, you are designing vast, interconnected ecosystems. Because of that massive scale, leadership is now a core design skill. You have to guide both human teams and autonomous agents simultaneously. And crucially, ethics, that isn't just a checklist you hand off to the legal team anymore. It's the very infrastructure of your build. You're practicing collaborative intelligence alongside AI, which demands a stance of continuous, unwavering accountability.
I absolutely love this quote from the authors of the study, and it summarizes things perfectly. The designer's output is not a product, but a framework of relationships. The era of building static, isolated products, it's officially over. Done. We are now architects of relationships between human users, autonomous agents, and regulatory norms.
Which leaves us with this final, provocative thought. How can design guide the integration of agents and norms to be just and meaningful? Remember, you're no longer just a problem solver. You are an orchestrator of the future. And quite frankly, an immense, exciting responsibility now rests in your hands. Thank you so much for exploring this explainer with me.